Hello everyone. I will be discussing the remaining topics of the forensic ballistic course. Okay, now let's talk about ammunition. Okay, legally, ammunition, it is referred to loaded shell for rifles, muskets, carbines, shotguns, revolvers, and pistols from which a bullet, a ball, a shot, a shell, or other missiles may be fired by means of gunpowder or other explosive. So this term is also includes ammunition for air rifle. And technically, ammunition, it is a term used to describe a complete unfired unit consisting of bullet, primer, cartridge case, and gunpowder. Right? So the general term ammunition, it refers to metallic cartridges or shot shells. Once again, cartridge, that is a complete round of ammunition for a firearm. So aside from that, we can also call this an ammo. It is a short way, ammo is a short way or shorthand way to say ammunition. So meaning to say bullets, gunpowder, and other combat supplies. Okay, so now let's talk about cartridge. Okay, what is cartridge? Cartridge was derived from the Latin word chart, meaning paper, and the French word cartouche, meaning roll of paper. Okay, the earliest small arms, ammunition, or cartridge in the 16th century consisted of a pre-measured charge of powder that is wrapped in paper. Okay, so cartridge may be defined as a case, a capsule, a shell, or a bag of metal pasteboard, and the like, no, containing charge and arms and some the projectile to be fired. Okay, there are several marks which may be found on fired cartridges, and they are the following. Okay, first we have here firing pin. Okay, firing pin impression. And then we have the breech face markings, chamber marks, the extractor marks, the shearing marks, the ejector marks, striation, and the magazine lip markings. Yeah, take note for that, ha. Okay, so first we have here the firing pin impression. Okay, these are indentation that is created when the firing pin of a firearm strikes the primer of the center fire cartridge case or the rim of a rim fire cartridge case. And then the other one we have here the breech marks. Okay, so before that pala class, no, the cartridge cases, it is being compared to FARD standards, no, from a firearm using a comparison microscope. And the standards are fixed, examined, no, to determine what marks, kung meron man, the firearm is consistently reproducing. So evidence cartridge cases are then directly compared to the standards to see if they, they too are also similarly marked. Okay, so firing pin impression, once again, it is created with the firing pin of a firearm strikes the primer of the center fire cartridge case. Okay, so if the nose of the firing pin, it has a manufacturing imperfection or meron siyang damage, this potentially unique characteristics, it can be impressed into the metal of the primer or into the rim of the cartridge case. Okay, next, we have here the breech marks. Okay, this is the most common impress action marks sa cartridge, no? Sa cartridge cases, itong si breech marks. Okay, most fired cartridge cases are identified as having been fired by a specific firearm through the identification of breech marks. Okay, very high pressures generated within a firearm when a cartridge case is discharged. Okay, so this pressure force the bullet from the cartridge case and down the barrel at a very high velocities. So therefore, when a firearm is discharged, the shooter will feel the firearm na nagja-jump siya rearward. So this rearward movement of the firearm that is also called as well as recoil. Okay, so the area, that is the area that around the firing pin, which is against the head of the cartridge or shot shell during firing. These are Okay, so again, recoil that is for the most part it is caused by the cartridge case that moves rearward. Okay, as an opposite reaction to the pressure that is generated to the force, no, the bullet down the barrel. Okay, so when the head or the base of the cartridge cases, it moves rearward. Okay, it strikes, and that it now we call that now as the breech face of the firearm. Okay, again, remember in the breech marks class, when the head or the base of the cartridge case nagmo-move siya rearward, it strikes, no? At yung strikes na yan, that is also called as the breech face of the firearm. Again, sa breech face ha, that is the area of the firearm that supports the head of the cartridge. Okay, siya yung nagsusupport ng head ng cartridge case natin during the firing process. Okay, si breech face, it leaves markings on the head of the cartridge case. Why? Because as a result of the expanding gases now that is being pushed, the cartridge case back against the breech face. Okay, so again, when the head of a cartridge case slams against the breech face, the negative impression of any imperfection in the breech face are stamped, no, into either the primer of the cartridge case or the cartridge case itself. Okay, next, we have here chamber marks. Okay, chamber marks, that is the roughness in the chamber of a firearm. Okay, it can scratch the outer walls of a cartridge case when loaded and removed from the chamber. So most chamber marks class, it occur after the cartridge is fired. Okay, so the cartridge cases expand when fired, pressing out against the walls of the chamber. Okay, now when they are pulled out of the chamber, the sides of the cartridge case can be scratched. Yan yung nakikita niyo sa image dyan, yung side niya na-scratch siya. Okay, next, we have here the extractor marks. Okay, extractor mark, before that, extractor, that is a part of a handgun that removes a cartridge case, fired or unfired from the chamber. Okay, so another action mark usually found in the striated form, itong si extraction mark na gawa ni extractor. So, of most auto-loading or repeating firearms. Okay, the extractor is a small part sometimes resembling a hook, okay, that is used to remove a cartridge or cartridge case from the chamber of the firearm. Okay, so as the slide of the pistol, it moves to the rear, the extractor, it pulls the cartridge case. Okay, again, it pulls the cartridge case along with it until it is ejected from the pistol. Okay, so the extractor, it may or may not leave an identifiable mark on the cartridge case. Okay, now this is true if the cartridge is fired or simply hand chambered and extracted without firing. All right, next we have here the uh, shear mark. Shear mark. Okay, so shear mark. What is shear mark? Okay, shear mark, that is the cutting of metal from the surface of a bullet due to cylinder misalignment in a revolver. Okay, so when a cartridge case is forced backwards from recoil, the primer embeds itself in the firing pin hole. So, ibig sabihin, as the slide of the pistol starts to recoil, the barrel will drop slightly as the action opens. Now, the dropping barrels, it forces the cartridge case to move down slightly. No, and when this happens, the lower edge of the embedded primer is sheared downward and out of the firing pin hole. And that is now shear marks. Okay, next, markings. We have here ejector marks. Okay, ejector marks, that is sometimes created when cartridge or cartridge cases are ejected from the action of a firearm. Okay, so ejector marks, it can be either striated, okay, pwede siyang striated, pwede din siyang impressed, no? But the impressed ejector marks not only can be used to identify a cartridge case as having passed through a firearm's action, they can also be, okay, they can also be an indication that the cartridge cases was fired in the firearm. Again, ejector marks could only be reproduced when the cartridge cases were fired in the firearm and not by simply hand chambering and ejecting a live cartridge. It should be fired. Okay, it should be fired, no, not by simply hand chambering and ejecting a live cartridge. Okay? So, ejector marks class, ha, the extractor, di ba, it pulls the cartridge cases out of the firearms chamber. Now, as the cartridge case is pulled to the rear, it will be struck. No, it will be struck somewhere on an opposing edge by a part, as seen below, yung tinatawag nating ejector. Okay, yung ejector kasi that is designed to expel the cartridge case from the action of the firearm. You know, the resulting impact of the cartridge case with the ejector, it will cause another action mark that can be used as a means of identification. Okay, another, we have here striated action marks. Okay, these are common to cartridge cases that have passed through the action of an auto-loading or refitting firearm. Okay, so striated action marks, it can be produced on cartridge cases by contact with a number of different areas within the firearm. Okay, so some of the more common striated action mark, katulad na lang ng chamber marks, tinatawag din silang striated action mark, ha, yung chamber marks, yung shear marks, yung firing pin drag mark, extractor mark, ejector, lahat yun sila tinatawag din silang striated action mark. Okay, kasi ang nag-produce din is the cartridge case. It can be produced in the cartridge case, no? In some of the areas of the firearm. Okay, so now let's talk about firing pin drag marks. Okay, so when the firing pin springs forward to strike the primer of a cartridge, it may remain slightly forward and embedded in the primer. Okay, now certain barrels drop down slightly as recoil is forcing the action open. Okay, so the cartridge case drops with the barrel, it causing the nose of the protruding firing pin to drag across the primer as it leaves the firing pin impression. Okay, so and that is yung na-drag niya across the primer as it leaves the firing pin impression. That is now the firing pin drag marks. Okay, so next, we have here, again class, do not forget firing pin impression. It can also be found on live cartridges, no? Okay, in some cases, the firing pin may miss the primer of a cartridge or di ba kaya fail to strike the primer of a cartridge or di ba kaya fail to strike the primer of a cartridge, ha? Okay, tandaan nyo yan. Okay, the cartridge may also misfire due to a contaminated or na-deteriorate na yung primer compound. Okay, for whatever reason, okay, the result will be the presence of a firing pin impression sa cartridge, nung live cartridge. Okay, this could be significant if the cartridge was found at the scene or found at the suspect's house. Right, so basta yung pinaka-common, yung firing pin impression at breach marks. That is the most common impress action marks. Okay, let's talk now about the types of cartridge according to rim. Okay, we have here rim type. Okay, rim type cartridge. Okay, what is rim type cartridge? So, that diameter of the rim is greater than the diameter of the body of the cartridge. Okay, so this type of cartridge, yung case niya, it has a well-defined upstanding rim, no, around the base, or simply a cartridge with the rim diameter greater than the diameter of the body of the shell. Okay, common example of the rim case type is the caliber 22. Okay, the 3/8, no, caliber 38. Okay, that is in a revolvers. And the other one is the semi-rim type. Okay, a cartridge case, slightly rim, no? Slightly rim. Okay, at first glance, the cartridge is a rimless form. But with a closer look, tingnan nyo mabuti, the rim is slightly greater than the diameter of the body. Okay, so yung semi-rim type, yung naka-invento niyan, si John Browning sa automatic pistol, no? It is commonly seen as sa 9mm, okay, 6.35 mm. Okay, and then the other one is the rimless type, yung according to diameter. That is a type of cartridge with a case having a rim diameter equal to the diameter of the body. Okay, meron siyang extraction groove that is cut around the base. Okay, yung advantage ng rimless is that it is used, no, its use is it allows the cartridge to slide to the magazine. Okay, makikita niyo naman to sa caliber 45 commonly, is the rimless type. Another is we have the rebated type. Okay, rebated type, these are those cartridge with a rimless pattern. But it has a diameter that is smaller than the body of the case. Okay, so yung rebated type, halimbawa yung 20mm na Canon cartridge, no? Okay, unusual calibers. Okay, next one, we have the belted type. Okay, ito yung cartridge na to naman, meron siyang permanent race. Permanent race that is belt around its body, not just in front of the extraction groove. Okay, so this is used for, meron siyang iba't ibang purpose yung belted type. To position the case and the projectile accurately in the chamber. And in the other one, it could strengthen the rear of the case for use, no, with high-powered propelling chargers. All right. Okay, now we have as well miscellaneous types of bullets. Okay, so we have here baton round. Okay, baton round, that is when referring to a rubber bullet, pwede din, no? Okay, so this type of bullet was first developed by the Hong Kong police, no? Itong si baton round. Okay, and first time it was made of wood due to its ability to split on impact with the ground. Okay, and it was later replaced by a rubber. Okay, so baton round, this is generally a plain cylindrical rubber or plastic that is used in a 12-bore. Okay, meron din sa 37mm or mga riot gun, no? And fired by a low power charge. Okay, so baton round, this is a low power propelling charge. Okay, now the intended use is to fire at the ground so that the round bounces up and hits the target on the legs and it causing pain, no, not injury. Another is we have the compound bullet. Okay, compound bullet, this is a type of bullet that has a dense metal core covered with a jacket of a lighter metal, okay, which does not bring lead into contact with the rifling of the weapon. Okay, so itong compound bullet, this was designed by Major Ruben of the Swiss Army in the 1880s. Okay, another, we have discarding sabos. Okay, discarding sabos. Okay, that is a type of bullet that is designed for greater velocity. Okay, it has a ball covered with light metal which separates when fired. Okay, yung Remington arms, meron silang a version ito. They have their own version of discarding sabots, and they call this one as accelerating bullet or accelerator bullet. Okay, another, we have dum-dum bullets. Okay, somehow it is a type of bullet that was designed in India. Okay, it is designed in India by Captain Bertie Clay. Okay, it consists of a service ball that has an exposed nose, and then due to its trim jacket at the back. So at present, the term is loosely used in describing any expanding bullet, yung dum-dum. Okay, meron kayong makikita na expanding bullet, dum-dum bullet yan, katulad niya, no? Kakaiba siya sa usual na bullet, na common bullets, no? That's the dum-dum bullet. Okay, meron siyang, okay, loosen yung, or nag-i-expand yung bullet niya. Okay, so another we have here, frangible ball type. Okay, so that is a type of bullet designed for training purposes, no? Especially for aerial targets. Okay, so aerial targets, itong si frangible ball type. Now, it does not cause any damage to the target. Rather, it leaves a paint mark. Okay, it leaves a paint mark, no, for the purpose of assessing the gunners. Okay, another, we have here fléché. Fléché, that is a dark, like solid projectile. Okay, stabilized in flight by fins. Okay, meron siyang mga fins. Sa isda pa, no? Kuan sa mga unsay tawag ana sa Bisaya, no? Okay, it was used in yung fléché, yung nakikita niyo yung white, yung silver color sa baba, that's the fins. Okay, it was used in as early as 1914. Okay, so next is we have here heel bullet. That is a type of bullet that is commonly used in pistol. Okay, having its rear portion reduced in diameter in order to fit in the mouth of the shell. Okay, and it make the rest of its part appear flush with the mouth of the shell. Okay, another, we have here hollow point. Okay, so this is a type of bullet in which the nose is, yung nose ng bullet, naka-drilled out siya to the certain depth, no? Meron siyang hole, meron siyang butas, no? Sa gitna. Okay, that's the hollow point bullet. So what's the purpose is that? Mushroom, no? Itinatawag din si hollow point bullet, tinatawag din itong mushroom bullet. Para siyang nagpo-form ng mushroom. Okay, the purpose of that is to be able for the bullet to deform upon impact. Okay, another is we have here the lethal ball. Lethal ball, that is a British term, no? When we refer to a single shot. Okay, so this was used to the members of the Home Guard and their person na ginagamit sa World War II, itong si lethal ball. Okay, next we have here multiple bullet. Okay, so it is a term applied to a number of 2 or 3 bullets forming a cartridge. Okay, it was patented by George Loger. And then we have the soft point. Okay, the soft point bullet, it refers to any type of bullet with, okay, meron siyang jacket. Okay, jacket with a jacket short that has its nose exposed, no? And it is capable as well of deforming upon the impact. Okay, common ito sa mga hunting purposes, itong soft point bullets. Okay, another we has the Spitzer bullet. Okay, that is a term used by the American and the British sportsmen. Okay, when they refer to a pointed bullet, tinatawag nila itong Spitzer bullet. Basta any pointed bullet, that is a Spitzer bullet. Okay, it is used in small arms and it deliver a great long-range accuracy. And then the other one is the streamline bullet. Streamline, no? Para siyang barko, para siyang boat. Kaya streamline, it is a boat like, tingnan mo, para siyang boat. Okay, that is a type of bullet that has front section tapered to a point and its rear section tapered to small diameter. Okay, so again, that is designed or arranged in a way that it makes movement easier through air or water man. Okay, pwede siyang gamitin sa air, sa water. Sa water din, no? Okay, yung appearance ng streamline bullet, yung shape niya, yung appearance niya, okay, it is a boat-like. Alright, so next, let's talk now about explosives. Okay, what is explosive? It is referring to any substance that may cause an explosion by its sudden decomposition or combustion. Okay, somehow, it is a material, no? Either a pure single substance or a mixture of substance which is capable of producing an explosion. Okay, gawa ng energy niya. Okay, that's explosive. And we have classifications of explosives. Okay, we have here propellants. We have here primary explosive or initiators, and we have here high explosive. Pag sinabi natong propellants or low explosive, ito na yung mga black powder, mga smokeless powder. Okay, the propellants or the low explosives, it burns, no? It burns, but it do not explode. Again, hindi siya nag-explode yung propellants or yung low explosives. Okay, it cannot produce an explosion. Okay, katulad na example of propellants again, the black powder and smokeless powder. Okay, another explosive we have here, primary explosive or initiator. Ito yung nag-i-explodes or nagdi-detonate siya when they are heated or subjected to shock. Okay, they do not burn. Yung propellants, it burn. The primary, it does not burn. Sometimes, they do not even contain the element that is necessary for combustion. Okay, the material themselves explode and the explosion result whether they are confined or not. Okay, katulad ng mga mercury fulminate, mga lead, no? Lead salts, lead oxide, mga picric acid, that's an example of primary explosives. Next, we have here high explosives. Okay, nagde-detonate siya. It detonates under the influence of the shock of the explosion of a primary explosive. Okay, they do not function by burning. In fact, okay, not all of them are combustible. The high explosive, not all of them are combustible. Okay, but again, not all of them are combustible, but most of them can be ignited by a flame, no? And in small amount, they generally burn tranquilly and can extinguish easily. So example sa high explosive katulad na lang halimbawa ng TNT, trinitrotoluene, no? The dynamite, the nitroglycerin. Okay, aside from this, we have other forms of explosives. So we have here nitroglycerin. Okay, that is a high explosive substance. Karaniwang ginagamit ito sa mga industrial explosives. Okay, so it has been a main component of many dynamites, itong nitroglycerin. Okay, alam niyo naman siguro yung dynamite. Okay, karaniwang ginagamit ito dito sa Pilipinas for fishing. Okay, it is an oily liquid made of nitric acid, sulfuric acid, and glycerin. Okay, we have another forms of explosive. We have trinitrotoluene or the TNT. Okay, that is the most widely used explosive. Usually, itong si trinitrotoluene, ginagamit ito military explosives as military explosives, no? Okay, yellow. Okay, ang yellow na yan, odorless. Trinitrotoluene has a yellow color, odorless din, no? Okay, suled. It does not occur naturally in the environment. It can use underwater blasting, itong trinitrotoluene. Okay, another, the RDX. The RDX or the Royal Demolition Explosive. Okay, so it is also called as hexogen or cyclonite or cyclotrimethylene trinitramine. Okay, it is the most important military explosive used today, CRDX. Another, we have nitrocellulose, or the cellulose nitrate, or the nitrocotton. Okay, it is the nitrate ester of cellulose. Okay, it serves as the main ingredient of many smokeless powder, then si nitrocellulose. Okay, and the last other explosive, we have bomb. That is a poorly defined as a hollow projectile of iron. Okay, generally spherical. So natin spherical, bilog, no? It contains an explosive material which is fired by concussion meron siyang time fuse, yung bomb, no? Okay, so meron yung mga modern bombs ngayon, they're no longer constructed sa mga fuse. Time fuse, wala nang ganong, yung old pa yun yung merong timer, no? So, ngayon, meron ng mga remote control. Okay, dami nang mai-introduce na modern bombs ngayon. Alright? Okay, so now let's talk about firearm characteristics. Okay, firearm characteristics. Now we're going to talk now about the gun barrel. Okay, the gun barrel. Okay, again, si gun barrel, it is one of the firearm characteristics. It is a tube, usually metal, through which a controlled explosion or the rapid expansion of gases are being released, no? In order to propel a projectile out of the end of the high velocity. Alright, so merong mga stages sa pag-manufacture ng barrel, or ng gun barrel. Merong mga stages. Okay, first stage of the manufacturing of the barrel, ito tinatawag nating drill or drilling. Okay, special deep hole. holing bangagan, no? Bubutasan kay yung barrel. Okay, that is used in there is a special deep hole, no, na mangyayari through the center. Okay, sa center siya, and which the lubricating oil is forced under pressure. Okay, so this operation, it result a comparatively rough hole of uniform diameter from one end of the barrel to the other. So sa stage na to, yung interior surface ng barrel, it will bear numerous scars, merong mga scratches, of course, as a result of the irregular cutting of the drill and the metal chips which mark the finish, no? So it is also the stage at which the bore diameter or the caliber of the firearm is determined. Okay. Dito sa drilling na to, madidetermine mo kung anong kalibre ng barrel or anong diameter ng barrel, no? Okay, sa drilling na to. Okay, ng barrel. Alright, another. Okay, sa pag-hole niyan, diyan mo ma-determine yung caliber ng firearm. Okay, another stage is manufacturing of the barrel. Again, we're talking here about the barrel class, yung tube. Okay, yung tube, yung metal, yung barrel, yan yung barrel, ha. Okay, another is the reaming. Okay, the reaming, the next stage, the reaming. So it is the process of some of the scars or scratches left by the drilling operation are removed. Okay, yung reamer, it removes the metal from the entire surface. Okay, because it is slightly larger in diameter than the drill, which it completes the bore operation. Okay, it includes roughly finishing and burnishing reamer to have a smooth barrel. So yung reamer class, it will expand the hole to the desired finish, no? Whatever you desired na finish bore, okay, it will expand the hole. Okay, yan yun din yung nagpapasmooth ng innard, okay, ng interior sa barrel. Again, yung reaming class, yun yung nagpapasmooth ng interior ng barrel. Okay, ng surface ng barrel doon sa loob. Okay, the interior surface of the barrel. Okay, because it creates the final desired bore, yung the second process, which is the reaming. Okay, another, we have here rifling. Okay, again, you know what's rifling, ha? Merong lance, merong grooves. Okay, so it can be, this process is necessary for making the helical grooves inside the barrel. And it can be performed by hooking, by scraping. When we say hook, okay, kinakat, no? There is cutter system. Same with the scrape. There is scraper, and then the broaching system, and in the bottom, baton. Okay, so the rifling in the bore of the firearm is helical groove, no? It is consist of the press portion. Again, dito na sa rifling, dito na mag-create ng lance and grooves, no? Okay, and which is responsible for the rotation of the projectile. Yung dalawa naman talaga yun yung rason na nagro-rotate yung projectile sa loob. Paglabas niya ng gun muzzle. Okay. Paglabas ng bullet sa gun muzzle, ha? Or ng projectile. Okay. And then, the next stage is the lapped or the lapping. Okay. This is the polishing operation, yung lapping. Ito na yung pinaka-last. Lapped. Okay. The polishing operation in which a lead plug closely fitting the inside of the barrel is drawn back and forth on a rod carrying with its a polishing compound. Okay, kakaiba siya dun sa the second one kasi ito meron na siyang mga polishing compound. Okay, this will remove large imperfection on the ends. Saka meron na ding rifling. Okay, this will remove large imperfection on the inside surface of the barrel, both to the lance and the grooves. Okay, now what is important about this process is that no matter how many times we polish or finish the barrel, only the large imperfection may be eliminated, no? But not the minute imperfections, making a serious alteration that will be impressed on every bullet that will pass through it, no? This is the basis for which firearms are identified. Okay, again, in lapping class, in lapping stage, they're going to insert the barrel lapping rod into the bore until it is about 4 inches. Hanggang 4 inches, ha? Okay, yung paglalap. Next. Now, let's talk about types of characteristics in firearms. So, We discussed this so well na, no? Okay, when we say class characteristic, so ito, okay, it can be determined even before the manufacture of the gun. And then the individual, or we're talking here about, okay, this is true, no, for such characteristics that are considered to be a manufacturer's design or specifications and security. Okay, and the individual characteristics determined only after the firearm has already been manufactured. So they are the product of machine imperfections. Yung iba, subsequently produced after the firearms have been used. Okay, now let's talk about class characteristic. First, the bore diameter or the caliber or the gauge. Okay, again, this is the distance or the diameter to which the bore was rimmed. No? It is the distance measured between two opposite lands inside the bore in hundreds or thousands of an inch. Next, number of lands and grooves. No? The number of lands and grooves inside the barrel of a given firearms. So, galito, always, no? Always the same or equal. Okay, it may run from 3 to 8, but the most in the modern firearm are 5 and 6. Okay, next, width of lands. Again, it is dependent upon the bore diameter of the gun. The grooves, okay, the width and the number. Silans, these are the remainders of the circumference after subtracting all the grooves width. The width of the lance, it is measured as the shortest distance between the two dies or edge of a groove. Okay, and then the direction of twist, okay, it could be right, it could be left, no? It could be either twisted to the right or to the left. Okay, yung rifling sa loob ng gun, ha, it could be twisted into the right or to the left. Okay, as it passes through the bore. Okay, the purpose of this is to ensure gyroscopic stability while nagpa-flight yung bullet. Okay, again, the twist that is determined by setting the bullet on a flat surface and observing the direction of the firing. And then the other one is the pitch of rifling. Okay, again, it can be measured, or the pitch of rifling, it is the measure of the twisting of the lance and grooves. Okay, again, it is the measure of the distance that is advanced by the rifling in order to make a complete turn inside the barrel. And the last one is the depth of the grooves. Okay, that is measured on a radius of the bore. Okay, grooves are usually few thousand of an inch deep, which is equal to the height of the lance. Okay, now let's talk about types of rifling. We have our STEER type, carbine type, Smith and Wesson, Colt, Browning, Webley, and Winchester. All right. The STEER type, it is a type of rifling. Meron siyang 4 lance and grooves. Right yung direction of twist and the width of the lance and grooves. Okay, carbine type, meron siyang 4 lance and grooves. Right twist. Okay, the width of the groove is 2 times the width of the lance. Yung Smith and Wesson, meron siyang 5 lance and grooves. Yung direction of twist is right. And the width of the lance and grooves are equal. Yung Colt, ito yung unusual na rifling kasi yung twisting niya, yung direction of twist na is left, no? Okay, meron siyang 6 lance and grooves. Okay, the width of the groove is twice the width of the lance. Okay, and then next is the Browning type. Okay, meron din siyang 6 lance and grooves. Direction of twist, right. And then the width of the groove is twice the width of the lance. The Webley type, 7 yung lance and grooves. Yung direction of twist is right. And then the width of the groove is 3 times larger than the border of the lance. Yung Winchester types of rifling naman, katulad siya ng Browning type, meron siyang 6 na lance and grooves. Parehong right-hand twist, kaso lang 3 times larger yung width of grooves niya than the width of the lance. Okay, so now let's talk about marks found on the fired bullets. Okay, we have here landmarks. Okay, ano ba yung si landmark, it is caused by its contact, no, to the elevated portion. Ano nga yung ulit yung elevated portion? Yung lands, no? Yung lands. Yung lands of the bore of the firearm. So it is yung landmark, it appears like somehow a slight lang yung depression or meron siyang scratches, no? Okay, meron siyang scratches or it scratches the cylindrical surface of the fired bullet. Another is the groove or the groove marks. Okay, it is caused naman by the grooves. Again, pag sinabing land, it is caused by land. Pag sinabing grooves, caused by grooves of the barrel, which is the same number as that of the landmarks. Okay, so another is, we have here the skid marks. Okay, this is found. Saan naman ito makikita si skid marks? Doon sa mga fired bullets sa revolver. Okay, more or less, it is located in the anterior portion of the bullet. Pag sinabing anterior, makikita mo siya sa nose portion ng bullet. Okay, dyan mo siya makikita. Alright, due to its forward movement from the chamber to the barrel of the gun before it initially rotates. Okay, again, skid mark, that is caused by the bullet that moves forward before the rifling catch the bullet. Another, we have here the stripping marks. So it is a marks naman that is found on those bullets that is fired from a loose fit barrel. Loose fit. Ano ba itong loose fit barrel? Yung rifling niya, worn out na. Okay, it is badly worn out. Okay, so the worn out in the rifling of the firearm, it can be caused by either ano kayong posibleng reason na nag-worn out yung rifling. Pwedeng chemical reaction, kasi tawag nito merong, so sa Bisaya pataya, no? Okay, or rust. Okay, that is the reason. The chemical reaction that is brought about by the rust, no? Or through excessive use. Okay, sobra-sobra na yung paggamit. So, in the result, nagkakaroon siya ng stripping marks. Basta stripping marks, always remember na yung dahilan nito is the loose fit barrel. Okay, next, we have here shaving marks. Okay, marks commonly found on the bullet that is fired from a revolver. Okay, somehow it is caused naman by its forward movement to the barrel. Okay, what is the reason? It is poorly aligned, no? Poorly aligned to the cylinder. Kaya nagkakaroon siya ng shaving marks. Okay, next, slippage marks. So these are markings found on fired bullets that is passing through either an oily or yung barrel is oversized. Okay. So now, let's talk about marks found on fired shell. Okay. So we have here firing pin mark. Okay, mark generally found at the base portion. Okay. Sa base mo siya makikita sa cartridge case si firing pin mark. Okay, yung iba naman near center of the primer cap. You know, the primer cap naman, di ba? In a center for cartridge. Or, nandun siya sa rim cavity of a rim fire cartridge. Okay, see, firing pin mark, it is considered as one of the most important marks for identification of firearms using fired shell. Okay, so next we have here the breech face mark. Okay, katulad lang din ng firing pin, makikita mo din siya sa base portion of the shell. Okay, kaso it is caused by backward movement to the breech face of the block of the firearm. Okay, this is also one of the important marks in shell identification. Another, extractor mark. So commonly, mostly it is found at the extracting groove of the firearm or of the fired cartridge case. It is caused naman by its withdrawal from the chamber. Okay, and then we have ejector mark. Okay, it is generally found on cartridge case fired from an automatic firearms, no? So it is located somehow near the rim of the case caused by throwing of the shell from the firearm to the area of shooting. Okay, another, we have here the shearing mark, sometimes called the secondary firing pin. Now we're talking about shell in a shotgun. Okay, meron din siyang ganitong mark sa shotgun. Okay, shearing mark, sometimes it is called secondary firing pin mark that is found in the primary near the firing pin mark. Another, we have here magazine lip mark. Okay, it is the marking found at the two sides of the rim. It caused by the magazine lips during the loading of the cartridge into the magazine for firing. And then we have chamber mark. Okay, so there is mark mostly found around the body of the fired cartridge case that is caused by the irregularities of the nips, no, inside the walls of the chamber. Okay, and then so these are all class. In a fired cartridge case, either of the firing pin mark or in the bridge face marks, it can be used, no, as a basis for identification. Okay, in the absence or non-usage of these two, the firing pin and the bridge face, no, both the ejector and extractor marks, it can be utilized as secondary choices. Yung primary talaga, kailangan is yung firing pin mark at saka bridge face mark. Pangalawa na lang yan, second na lang na choices yan sa ejector at extractor marks. Okay. So now let's talk about this one masyadong mataas. So part 2 na lang ito ng discussion. Masyadong mataas. Masyadong marami. Okay. So do not forget to get the important notes. Include this one in the phase 3 of the activity that I gave you.